But how important do you think it is for the auric body or the chakras in manifesting?
Okay, great question. So, very important. And I was on a podcast last week where we were talking about, like if you're watching this and you're in a bad place, meaning you're worrying about money or you feel really sick, or like emotionally, you're just, let's stick with the emotions, because there's lots of different things that could be going on with people right now. You have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear. What happens is that if you try to create something from that space, you got to think of like the human body. I'm going to give you a different model of the human body. Human body is just a energetic possibility. And what I mean by that is that it's a frequency of vibration. Sound is a vibration. So your body has a frequency of vibration. And so if you attune to a certain sound, what happens is you only pick up vibrations that are like that vibrations at that sound. Your body's the same thing. It's a tuning fork, right? Pineal gland's a transmitter. Well, you're only getting information that's available at that frequency. So if you're in a state of anxiety, and then you go, okay, I'm going to create and manifest whatever it is that you want to create that will relieve that anxiety. And you go into your visualization or you meditate and you contemplate this thing, and then you let it go and then you go about your day, but you're still in a state of anxiety, then your perceptions are filtering the information, the ideas you get through that anxiety. So why does that happen? It happens because there's usually imbalances in the chakras. And the bottom three are the most important, usually because those are the ones that carry negative states, negative vibrations, negative frequencies of vibration. And so if you can think of it this way, your job is to get from a negative state to a neutral state. What's neutral? Neutral is you don't feel excited, but you don't feel depressed either. You don't feel enthusiastic about anything, but you don't feel tension, anxiety. You don't feel any sort of, you're just neutral. And people know what neutral is. They say, when you're neutral, start practicing the 7-day manifestation experiment, because now you're in the perfect optimal state. Now you can get into a place where you're finding your excitement. But to find your excitement from a level of where you're in anxiety, it's just going to tune into vibration sounds that are at that frequency. So what we do is the chakras are basically energetic centers in the body that are like mini brains. Yes, we have a brain and it sends information to the heart. The heart sends actually more information to the brain. And that's one of the centers. The heart's a center. It's an energetic center. Same with the sacral, same with the base of the spine. There's another energy center. These are all little brains, and these little brains send information to our brain, which change our perceptions. Like I said, you can only get the information you're the frequency of.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to create something new, which is not part of your past, right? A new future. Like I said, you've got to balance the energy centers. Like I mentioned earlier with Lauren, where we like balance the energy centers. All of a sudden she realized her whole past changes. Why? The perception changes. Why? Because the energy is balanced around the center. In this case, the heart. So if you balance energy, and I can give you another example. There's a guy that I worked with, a construction worker. It's about 3 years ago, and he's going through this horrible divorce, 2 kids, and they're like, she's giving him a hard time. They're arguing about finances. She's trying to sue him. The lawyers are involved. It's a mess. And so it's a Sunday night. He's having a bit of a panic attack. Starts working with me, and we spend 90 minutes on the call to get him balanced again. Because that's all I do, is I'm basically balancing his energy centers. If you look at a chart of this, you'll see that, like, for example, let's say that a fully coherent person, the heart, basically, if you're looking at me, the lineup of those frequencies or thoughts or the thought vibrations that are picked up from the heart, let's say they're right in the center. But for most people, it's like way over here, or it's like way over here. They're way off center.
Oh,
So
wow. That's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, and if you look at these charts, you could see someone's, like, for example, their throat chakra. It's like, they're always having issues with their throat, their voice. They can't speak up. They can't, and all of a sudden it's like way over here, and it's not in the center. It's not coherent with the body. So if you look at these charts, you're just like, oh wow, that person's totally out of balance. What I do in this 90-minute call is I got them balanced again. And guess the first thing I say, what would be a word to describe how you feel? He came in with anxiety. He came in with fear. And I said, give me a word at the very end after we went through the whole process. He's balancing. I said, give me a word to describe how you're feeling. He goes, all I can feel is love. Now that's a balanced human being.
Yeah.
And if someone who feels that is going to act very differently, right?
Right.
And so again, like I said, when that happens, your past completely looks differently than what you thought it was in that moment, because you're balanced. And the future, by the way, So he runs into his ex-wife 2 days later. He called me up because I was like, I just ran into my ex-wife 2 days after we had that call. And I went to pick up the kids. I haven't seen her in 2 years. We've been texting. We hadn't actually saw each other in person. And he goes, I apologized to her. And she apologized to me. And then they're starting to work out their divorce, right? Because
awesome.
The kids and all this. So anyways, it's like when you get balanced on the chakras, when everything's back in alignment and balanced, and when I say balanced, coherent, what do I mean by coherent? 10,000 people in a stadium, if 1,000 out of 10,000 are clapping, that's incoherence. That's out of balance. That's where the heart's way over here. The throat chakra is way over here. It's not even in the physical body. Okay, coherence, all 10,000 people are clapping in sync. Guess what happens? Lots of energy, lots of intensity. Now it's like when you go to create something from this balanced, neutral state, guess what happens? There's lots of energy and it's very clear. Your intention is very clear. Okay.
That's awesome.
So you got to think of it this way, is that if you go to use the 7-day manifestation experiment, you're setting an intention, right? To create whatever it is you want to create. These out of balance chakras, whatever they are, the throat, or like I said, it could be sacral, whatever it is, they're like counter intentions. It's like the intention that you want, and then there's the counter intention, which is totally opposite. And so that's why it's like some people don't get results, is because they have these counter intentions built in. The body's not balanced. Once you get balanced, so you got to think of the body as like it's a tool. It's a vehicle, because obviously our soul has come here to like exist, and they have the experiences, which the creator has endorsed. The creator says, come here. God, creator, says, okay, come here. You're a piece of me. I want you to come here, have some experiences. I want you to learn some things, and you get free will. So you get to decide how that's going to go. You get to choose what you believe, what you don't believe. You get to choose when information comes in, what you don't. How? By attuning your body to the frequency, vibration, whatever you want. And so, yes, the chakras are a big part of that, because once you're balanced and you're in coherence, then all of a sudden you got lots of energy, and then you can set intentions, and then all of a sudden you hear these people like, oh, it was so effortless, like they just did it. It's because, and this is following your excitement. It's like once you've got an intention, then follow your excitement. And I was just with a really good friend on the weekend. It was her birthday, and this is something that I picked up from Daryl Anka. He channels an entity called Bashar. So regardless if you believe in channeled people who channel information or not, I picked up that from him, and it was like, follow your excitement. And I was like, oh yeah, like that totally makes sense. So this woman who's a good friend of mine, she's totally into fashion, but she's not in the fashion industry. She works at HR, the big corporation, and she meets this other woman has this company where she stitches all her own clothes. And then she starts talking to her, and she goes, well, I noticed you're putting your stuff online, but she's like, why don't you give your piece's name? And so she's becoming like the marketing person for this woman. But she's not doing it to get paid. She's not doing it for anything. She's doing it to help because it's her excitement. And that's the key, is when you follow your excitement, don't be attached to any outcome. Just do it because you're excited to do it. And if you can stay in that state of being excitement, guess what happens? Now what you're doing is you're activating that intention, and then you're also pulling in new information at that vibration. And your only job is, once you follow your excitement, is to take action on the excitement. How do you know that you're taking the right action? The more you take the action, the more excited you get. It's literally that simple. If you're not excited, you're taking the wrong action. It's meant for someone else. Someone else is meant to take that action. So you're taking your action on your excitement. You take it as far as you can, and you do it the best you can. And then that's it. And then if nothing else excites you at that moment, you're like, okay, maybe there's nothing else to do. But then you go to yourself, well, what else excites me? And if something else excites you, that's when you said at the beginning of the call, you said, well, I want to introduce you. How would I introduce you? And I was like, so I do a lot of things, because there's a lot of different things that excite me, right? Yeah. So anyway, so long story short is like, like the chakras are a big part of that, because once you're balanced, then all of a sudden, like the past and the future change, and then you can create whatever you want. Yeah. Thanks for watching, listening. My name's Steve. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you enjoyed this, and share this with someone who may benefit. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you next time.